just want to go through a quick rundown of what I call the wilderness belt. This is the minimum that I carry around with me every single day, every moment. If I go to the bathroom in the backcountry, I take this off, maybe put this at arm's length. But pretty much, and if I'm sitting in a chair, doing my office work or something online, as you may have seen in some videos, I put this right next to me. So this is with me all the time. It's a constant companion, and I feel this is the bare minimum that I need for security and just essentials that I use every single day. Okay, so let me just do a quick rundown, and because this is really working for me. I've had this on for a couple weeks now, and I feel it's appropriate weight, like for what I'm really going to wear every single day. If you're not going to wear it every single day and every moment of every day, then it defeats the purpose, right? This is just the bare essentials, right? So starting off with my my best friend is a SIG X10 here on a retention holster. I really feel that the retention holster is absolutely necessary in the backcountry. It's just, this is getting knocked around all over the place. It's different than, when you're in the city and carrying concealed and stuff like that. So retention holster, I was debating it before, but now that it's out here, I'm really happy that I got the retention holster. So enough said on that. My right pocket, I don't really keep much, maybe a Ziploc bag just for convenience, Swiss Army knife, and a lighter, So this side is pretty streamlined so that it's free from the firearm, right? Then I got a pair of gloves. This is absolutely essential for, keeping your hands, in good shape and picking up stuff that's really hot, on a daily basis around the campfire and everything like that. Then I got a spare mag here, and with a SIG X10, that's 30 rounds total. Yeah, 30 rounds total of 10 millimeter. That's plenty for any fight that you're going to be in here with a wild animal or such. But I think having an extra mag is pretty valid. If you've got to go through a reload, to work out some sort of malfunction or something like that, you should, I think, have that there. But as far as the total amount more rounds, man, that's completely fine. You don't need more than that. The next one over here, hopefully I'll draw the right one. That's got me a little more concerned, but I do at the range I typically have like 2 magazines, and that's what a lot of people train with and what I do too. So I'm used to having like this double magazine holster here, but I noticed that having 3 magazines total in the backcountry, just too much weight on a daily basis and completely unnecessary. So what I've done in this other magazine pouch is put a high beam flashlight / USB battery bank. This is the Phoenix ECP, I believe it says here, and this is super handy. It's somewhat of a tactical flashlight, right? It's not so fast. It's like not very immediate when you turn on. Sorry, I think it operates like this. When you turn on the high beam, there's a little bit of delay, so not the best for a tactical flashlight. However, the beam is pretty darn bright, and this is absolutely essential at night for picking out animals, in the woods or whatever surprises you may have. So, and this is a defensive tool in such that, a lot of animals around here, when you get a high beam shined on it, it wants to flee. So, it's less than a lethal protection as well. But in the back, what's really unique about this is that it has a USB port here, and this is waterproof as well. So in this little unit, you're getting, a high beam, somewhat tactical flashlight that has a lot of the bells and whistles, and you're also getting a USB power bank, which will then power up either my cell phone or the spot device that I have. I'll go into that in a second. So really good universal tool right there. Fits right into a magazine pouch. Can't say enough about that flashlight. I think that's really essential. Having some sort of USB power on you as a backup is really necessary because communications is a big deal. And so and having my iPhone powered on me all the time to capture video as they come up, with that, get that next bear encounter or whatever, to have that phone right in there, powered all the time, is really big. So I think, needless to say, that the high beam flashlight is important, but also the USB bank is really important too as well. So I carry a small little wallet. Yeah, money isn't necessary around here, not as much, but having ID, permits, things like that in here is pretty necessary. And I do work online, and I need my credit card or whatever to put in. So having that on me all the time is also, just as important. Well, not just as important, but almost as important as having it in the city. So that's there. And then I typically have my iPhone. I'm shooting this on my iPhone, but I typically have it in this pouch. So moving over to this pouch here, in this outer zipper, I have the truck key, and that's something that I want totally secure on me, not in a pocket where it can flip out or something like that. I want it under some sort of zippered pocket that's attached to me, right? Because that's pretty necessary, having the key to your truck way back here. That's a big deal. So I like to have that just totally secure. I know absolutely where it's at. No chance of it falling out or something like that. Then I've got, from front to back here, a spot device. This is a communication device via satellite, and it has a SOS feature on here. Should you get into trouble and you can't get yourself out, to signal some help to come find you here. So, and then, there's a membership that you can sign up for that rescue insurance and so on. So this is pretty necessary, and you need to have it on you at all times here. So that's what I keep right there. And then the next thing over here, I have, tethered to me, because this is an item that can be lost readily. I have the minimum number of bits that it takes to keep this firearm and this holster and any other little screws that I have going on in good condition and running, right? So not too many that are required for this setup, but if the screws back out, regardless of what you do to them, then you can tighten them up with this. And should I use this firearm and I have the second in any sort of moment when I'm going to fire it, if I have the moment, I can put in these earplugs that I keep in, should I have the additional second to be able to do that. So save my hearing. The other stuff, let's see, the other thing I have here is, there's typically one more cord in here, but I have 2 USB cords here that enable me to power up my spot device and my iPhone off of this USB battery bank / flashlight that I mentioned earlier here. So, and I keep it in a protective case so that those cables don't get crushed or anything like that. So that's super important to keep those running. And then the rest of the stuff in here is just a basic stop the bleed load out here. I've got a tourniquet, compressed gauze, and an Israeli bandage, right? So just the basic stuff there. Again, for like the immediate concern within those first few seconds right on you, right? So I package all this back up. All right, not too much else on this belt. I do have a half-liter water bottle. I think 1 full liter on you is just it's just too much for me. It's too big, it's too much sloshing around, but I do like a half liter, and I'm constantly drinking out of this thing, and it's really handy. So having that on you on a ongoing basis is really important, right? The last thing I have that's on the minimal loadout is a basic belt knife. This is a more bushcraft black, I believe, and I absolutely love this knife. I mean, it's got a great handle, it's easy to keep super sharp, love it. And I have it out of the way here, but then super handy, it's out of the way of the firearm, but in a good location here, and I'm constantly using that too. So all these items are super essential. I'm using them all the time, and it provides that minimal security around camp that I need. The next level up from this is to have the same belt, but I also then attach a pouch in the back, which is like a survival pouch. And I can go show that right now. Okay, I showed you the most basic loadout that I carry every single day, every moment of every day, right? But what the next level would be is carrying an additional, what I call survival pouch, right? And let me show you it right here. So it's the same exact belt as I just showed you, except I'll attach on this extra molly pouch, okay? And that's where it sits right there. And so I can take that and put it on and then take it off, depending where, if I'm in camp, and you know, just on an ongoing basis, I have all my normal resources around me all the time, I don't need that survival pouch. I got plenty of stuff here in camp that will take care of everything that survival pouch would have in it. However, if I leave camp and I go any further distance than a couple minutes, you know, I think to myself, if I'm going for a short, you know, day hike or something, like a short hike, just to stretch the legs even or something like that, I think to myself, you know, if something happened to my gear back there, if some person or something rolled it, found my stuff or something, took it all, or whatever the case may be, you know, if something happens to that gear back there and I'm out there even for just like a small hike to stretch the legs, and something happens to me and something happens to my situation, or a storm moves in or something like that, I am screwed, because this is truly in the wilderness, right? So if you remove all the stuff that's in camp and you're just out there, even for that small split of distance between you and your resources, those resources go, you are out in the wilderness completely screwed. And the list of things that can happen, you know, to you, and the potential consequences for not having these resources in camp over here are endless. I could go on and on, right? A storm moves in, right? You know, I'll leave it at that. So what I do is this molly pouch, the survival pouch, I have the minimum amount of gear, so that again, if I lose the resources in camp and I'm out, then I can at least make it back to safety, right? I can get myself out of the wilderness, and so I have the resources there to make that exit, you know, whatever that is, a couple days or whatever on foot, and get back to safety. Or if I'm not mobile, I have enough in that pouch, in this pouch here, so that I can hit the spot device, the SOS, or you know, gather any other sort of you know, rescue resource, and provide enough of a signal so that people can easily find me. All right, so this is also, you know, a pouch that provides all that gear for essentially a rescue, right? And then it has a couple little extra things that I might need if I were away from all my resources. So just, it has all the essentials that I need in a worst case scenario, that if I lose everything else and I'm away from my camp and I lose everything for some reason, I've got it on me. I know I'm fine in the wilderness. Either somebody can find me potentially, or I can get myself out. That's what that pouch is for. I only put it on my belt when I'm really away from camp. Again, any further than, you know, a couple minutes or something away from camp, where I'm not sure, I can't sense if somebody has come and found this camp or not, or whatever. Or if I'm backpacking way back in the wilderness. If I'm in the wilderness right now, but if I go way back, even further with a backpack, and things happen all the time, you know, you sit your pack down, you know, you go for a scout or something like that, whatever that happens, to where if you get cut off between your resources, your main resources, again, this pouch provides the safety that you have that bare minimum, so that you're okay in a pinch. And when that happens and that pinch comes, this is the bare minimum, you know, to make it out. You're not hanging out. You're not sitting there fishing, trying to get fish. It's time to boogie and go. You're either hitting the SOS button, okay, and calling in the cavalry, or you're getting your ass out, and you are getting your ass out directly. That means you're booking it and you're getting out of here. No time to dilly-dally. So you have that bare minimum of stuff just so that you're making a beeline for the closest civilization that you can get to. So this is how it sits on the belt, but I will go into more detail on the contents of the pouch right now. Okay, here's my backcountry desk, and pardon the shadows and such, but we are going to go over the contents of the survival pouch that I was mentioning that I have as an option to put on my wilderness belt. The first couple contents basically cover Canterbury's 5 C's of survival, and then there are several extras here. So this is a poncho here that also has a mylar lining. So it's basically like a survival blanket, one of those typical mylar survival blankets, but it has a bright orange exterior here, and it's a poncho. So it's kind of like, a rain jacket, but a combination of the two. It also provides a little warmth as well. I certainly have used some exact copies of this before when I was caught out, on a little hike and I needed some rain protection, and I can tell you that the mylar lining really does offer a bit of warmth in that. So definitely worthwhile. But it also has the orange exterior to provide additional visual signal for any sort of rescue. So a lot of these items here have multi-use, but if we're talking about cover, that's one of the primary ones I have there. This is also a kind of lawn leaf, large basic trash bag. And what will happen is that this turns into like an overnight cover system. So this is kind of like a bivy sack. It goes up, but of course it only goes up, somewhere between my knees and my waist. And then the poncho will cover my rest of my body from top to where the trash bag left off. So this will provide full coverage over my whole body. I'll put this over my legs basically, and then put this over my top, and then I'm fully covered, right? So a really light and compact system to be able to provide full bivy coverage there. And also you can use this separately as kind of just a rain top, how things dictate. And of course, then with the other component of the 5 C's, I've got cordage here. And so with this cordage, I can, manufacture all sorts of shelters, just like other people do with a mylar blanket. This one's a little stronger than your typical mylar blanket. So yeah, cordage essential, and then it also works with, the cover elements here to provide additional shelter. So this is 275 paracord. You can break out the inner strands, just like normal paracord. I think that's about 50 feet, I'm guessing, really. And then I've got a container as the next part of your survival C's. There's a stand-up bag. It's Whirl something. I don't know. I'm not gonna open it up. But this is one of those stand-up water bags, survival bags. And I used to have like a platypus full, collapsible water bag in here, but it took up too much space and a little bulky, and this is far lighter and more compact. So now I've gone to this. And again, this is a survival situation, right? This is not these items, when they're called into play, shit has gone wrong, right? And you're going to use this, only once. So the platypus is something that's probably designed to be used a little bit more often. So this will work just for when you need it that one time, right? And I also got a gallon size freezer Ziploc over here. So that provides an additional container, and whatever you find around, if you want to use it for gathering stuff, that works as well. Now, this is these items and these containers are typically going to carry water. So I have, for the water element to purify, I have iodine tabs here, but then I also have a section of aluminum foil here that can be, you know, molded into any sort of little cup or something like that to boil water as well. There's 1,001 uses for aluminum foil and survival, you know, methods that are well documented. It's a really high multi-use item, highly recommend it. Super light. I used to have this all in a metal container, but that also, again, that metal container weighed a lot and was bulky. And so every little bit here is considered really for size and weight constriction, you know? So I went to aluminum foil, and I think just for these one-off purposes for a survival situation, that'll work okay to boil water if I need to, or provide additional resource as aluminum can do. So, and while we're talking about water, let's go off on a tangent for a little bit and talk about food here. So I've got a couple little basic things here in case just when you hit the wall and you can't really think you go any further and you're crashing and making stupid mistakes. That's what this is for. It's a packet of peanut butter, a packet of goo, which is a kind of like a carbohydrate mix for athletes. If you're a climber during the Twilight era, you know what I'm talking about with this. And of course, then I have Gatorade here. And Gatorade with electrolytes, and that just, when you hit the wall and it's really hot out and you're sweating a lot, this really comes into play. If you've been in a North Carolina summer camping or hiking a lot, you know what I mean. So that is a big, in some environments, that's a big issue. And while we're on that topic, I used to carry, in addition to a packet of electrolyte Gatorade stuff, I used to carry some coffee, because caffeine to keep you going. But what I switched to was these little caffeine pills. These are over the counter in Walmart, totally legal. But I'm telling you, man, my personal experience, if you have to keep going and going and going without stopping, and you can't fall asleep, those caffeine tabs will do it, for me at least, right? So if you're hauling ass out of the wilderness and you're trying to make it, you know, and you need to keep going, having caffeine tabs or something along the like I think is a real valuable asset. So that's stuff to really keep you going, okay? Hitting the wall, keep trucking. All right. And of course, water is even more important than that. But these come into play here, all right? And again, this is all just to make it out, right? You're thinking when you're hitting that wall in a couple days. All right. So back to Canterbury's items here. I have combustion, right? So there I have some way to create combustion, which is I got the ferro rod and a lighter, and these are Vaseline cotton balls, which pick up really well on the ferro rod and extend that combustion out to create a larger fire with wood. And also then I have a lighter here, which you can light up these candles. And if wood is really wet, sticking these under, you know, small twigs will really help to get stuff going when it's really damp. So, and then of course there's duct tape, which you know, hopefully know that it is very combustible. If you light duct tape with a lighter, this burns actually very well to start a fire. But it's also a, you know, well, duct tape does everything, right? I mean, it's also has repair uses. So very important, got a section of duct tape. And then one of the last components of Canterbury's 5 is cutting, right? We got cover, cordage, container, combustion, and cutting tool. And these are some spare razor blades. In a pinch, you know, they work. But of course, you know, I have my belt, you know, I have my belt knife, and then in my pocket I have a Swiss Army knife. But this is just an additional backup. You know, it's almost nothing in there, and when you need them, they really work, right? So that's the major 5 C's, but I'm going to take you into a little bit more here. So here is, I got to get something that's a little bit more compact, and I know what I'm going to use, but this is a little bit wrench. Okay, it's actually pretty light, and I've got a selection here of bits that will keep my firearm in good standing, right? If any screws back out, that's usually the major thing that happens. You have screws back out or something like that, and then it makes the scope unusable, or many things can happen, you know, when screws back out. So I've got the minimum amount of bits here for my 308, and then as I've mentioned, I got the bits that I need for my pistol on my belt. So that's to keep the firearm going, you know, if you're cruising out. And then what else do I got here? Oh yes, I have a pencil which is wrapped in dental floss, and then some needles here. Okay, so that's just doing a basic repair with a dental floss to repair, you know, like a torn shoe. That would be a bad thing, right? If your shoes start to fall apart or something like that, that's a basic repair method, or anything like that breaks apart seams on your belts or pouch or anything like that, or clothing. But basically that will suffice for a rough repair, just to keep things going and together while you're hauling ass and getting out of your situation. And to get out of your situation, you know, as every climber knows, a headlamp is almost number one. So in addition to the high beam flashlight that I have on my belt, I also have a headlamp, because they're so important. Headlamps are actually pretty user friendly, very nice to have, and it's a backup lighting device, because it's so essential. If you don't have lighting, fog moves in, you're screwed. So I mean, a lot of things. So you have to be able to see to get your ass out, and so that's a big item. And then of course I have backup batteries. And on that note, navigating on getting your ass out, I have a compass. You don't want to be walking in circles in heavy forest areas, or you want to go in the most efficient direction that you know, to make the distance that you have to get out the minimal possible. So regardless, compass, it's a big deal. And now, as far as I've mentioned, some rescue items to be easily seen by other people should they come for your rescue. I have a couple things here. I have a light stick, which can be attached to the cordage over there, to be spun around in a circle. You've probably seen that before. That is a visual signature during the night, okay? And corresponding then, this SOS mirror, okay, this signal mirror, I guess they call it, is something that can be, that's a great visual signature during the day. So I have signature during the night, signature during the day, and then these are silent, but this is loud, okay? So auditory signals. If you're in heavy brush or something like that, okay, and they're getting close, you want to have some sort of auditory signal too that can travel a long distance, okay? So you got that for signal. Of course, you have the bright orange poncho, which also turns into a giant signal that's, you know, a whole piece of material that's easily seen. And then of course, you know, there's many different videos where you can expand that out like a whole Mylar blanket, and, you know, put that over in a large field or something like that, and put a bunch of X's, you know, with your duct tape or something like that. There's just having a great signal like that is also important. So there's a couple different signals right there. And in addition, you can always make that fire, right? And have that signal fire all ready to go. So several different methods to get noticed there. In addition to hiking your ass out, okay, as a climber, those of you out there who have climbed many years, athletic tape like this, cloth tape, is your best friend. If you've been climbing for long enough, you know how to patch yourself up. Not only your hands, but your ankles and all sorts of things. Should you roll an ankle or things like that, I know a lot of ways to keep my body going with that athletic tape. So for me, this is worth carrying this big chunk of athletic tape, because not only can I do first aid, I can help my limbs, and I can do a lot of athletic repairing to keep myself going, again, for this whole survival package to get your ass out. And on that note too, as well as first aid, I've got just basics here: a little gauze pad, Band-Aid, steri strips, alcohol wipes, and some disinfectant here, ointment, and ibuprofen. With that, boo-boo kit, and of course I have the whole stop the bleed thing on my belt, I'm pretty well covered. With all this stuff, I can make a lot of handy stuff. And then if it's a really bad situation, I've got my pseudo trauma kit. And on that note here, I have one other thing to add to my stop the bleed little kit on my belt. Is it's a chest seal here. And is this overkill if you're alone? Maybe, but I've done the training, and I just feel like, gosh, that's so standard for an IFAC that I'm gonna bring it, and it fits very well in this front pouch. So when I slip it in, I almost don't notice it. So anyway, that's all of it here, and I feel like with this, all else fails, I have this stuff that will at least either get me out to a place where of relative safety, out of the wilderness, or I can hit my spot, notify some other rescue, and be able to get seen easily for people to find me, and enough to keep me going. If I'm out there, I need to be able to repair myself and so on. I need to be able to see. I need to prevent myself from crashing, making stupid mistakes. I need water, things like that. So this all provides the minimal safety net. So I have all of the resources. I can take care of business and get myself to safety. Oh, and one more thing, I forgot one item. So when you do get yourself to safety, or some dirt road out there, here's $40. I forgot to mention that. I do carry 40 cash so that you can get a ride someplace and give them gas money. Or when I've been, I've hiked my ass out of the mountains before, and I get to convenience store and I'm like, oh damn, there's all these whatever Doritos around and I can't eat anything and I'm starving. So you got something there to get something started. So anyway, $40 when you do get to civilization can help you on your way to getting where you need to go.